Welcome, everybody, to City Winery, a great place, which we all know with time will only improve with age. The 2014 XRT Music and Movies Poll Gala. We want to thank all the fiercely brave Chicagoans who are not huddled in their homes right now and came out to City Winery to be part of our live audience. This is Chicago. You go out when you can. Also, thanks to everyone listening at home or watching us. I think for the first time we're live streaming at 93xrt.com, so Aunt Dorothy can watch us in California if you'll let her know. Mary, quick question, because I just realized we're nationwide. Do these Eton pants make me look too skinny?
No, they don't. But good effort. We are here to celebrate the excellent taste of the XRT listener. You have never been shy.
You have always told us who's the best, and I personally thank you.
He means the best albums, songs, concerts, and movies. 2014, still so fresh in our minds.
As fresh as the special fragrance of all those campaign ads.
As fresh as a steaming pile of
Chicago Bears football. And recently we learned that the Cubs and Sox would be trying something new in 2015.
It's called winning. George Lucas chose Chicago for his Museum of Narrative Art and unveiled the artist's sketches.
Which looked better than Soldier Field.
Looked like a baby Narglatch.
What a nerd. They're still arguing over where to put it. The museum people want it near Soldier Field.
And the Friends of the Parks want it in San Francisco.
Boom!
Shakalaka.
U2 released a new album and outraged the world by offering it for free.
Those heartless bastards.
Apparently, downloading an album from iTunes is like riding a bike. You're always in danger of falling flat on your face.
Speaking of surgery, our own Radio Hall of Famer, really, that's the one you're going to groan at? That's the one?
Save it up.
There's a lot of groan-worthy stuff here. Speaking of surgery, our own Radio Hall of Famer, Terry Hemmert, is here, and she had Did you know that Terry Hemmert had every part of her body replaced in 2014, except for her heart?
Which is big enough for this whole damn city.
Frankie Lee is here, the captain of the Starship.
Our science and science fiction editor. He's the captain of the Starship XRT. Not the band that built some city for rock and roll.
Oh, no, nobody thought that. The regular guy will count down the year's best movies.
How about a hand for Richard Milne? Our host of Local Anesthetic will run down your favorite local artists. I'll deal with available anesthetics.
So keep the wine coming, everyone. It is City Winery, after all. Also, Jason Thomas is here. He is a new dad. Go congratulate Jason. And if we hear any dead air during the show, it's just because he's sleeping when the baby sleeps.
Which is very, very good advice. We ain't got no dead air. We got one of the best songs as voted by you, the XRT listener in 2014. Here's Congos, Come With Me Now on 93 XRT.
Concerts, they're special events. They provide bright spots on the calendar. They give us something to look forward to for weeks, even months at a time. And living in a world-class city like we do, a cultural hub like we do, we never really have to worry about an artist, including Chicago, on their list of tour stops. They're coming to Chicago. It's just a matter of when and how many shows they're going to schedule. 3 of the concerts in the top 5 were multiple night affairs. We have arena shows, a massive festival, shows at some of our finest theaters, concert halls. We even have a club show that made the top 5. So without further ado, your picks for the best concerts of 2014. All right, number 5. It's not very often that a single club show makes the top 5, but when it's with a band that should probably be playing the ballpark across the street and will be playing the ballpark across the street later this year, it's a pretty big deal. Number 5, Foo Fighters at the Cubby Bear, October 17th. That was a good show. I know not everybody in here was at that show, but I'm sure some of you were, and it was an awesome night with the band. Number 4, 2 shows with the band that toured in support of their album that was voted number 1 of 2013 by the XRT listeners. The album, of course, Reflector. The band Arcade Fire. The shows were at United Center August 26th and 27th. Yeah. All right, number 3, world-class festival. It's a weekend where a lot of the music world focuses on Chicago. I mean, we get the festival, we get after shows, we get more after shows. It's a long weekend, takes a lot out of everybody, but we look forward to it every single year. Lollapalooza sits at number 3 on your list of the best concerts of 2014. Now, number 2, I often mention on the air that when this band announces shows in Chicago, hometown shows, people freak out, and they do. People freak out. Chicago freaks out for Wilco. Number 2, Wilco's 6 shows at the Riviera Theater last month. The Wilco Winterlude 2014. And the top spot on the list, this is a man that'll never let rock and roll die. He loves making records so much. He has his own record label. He's a modern-day guitar god. He's never afraid to speak his mind, especially when the Black Keys are involved for some reason. He loves the blues. He loves country. He loves punk. You can hear traces of all the above in his music. And maybe you heard one of these shows live on XRT this past summer. And the concerts voted number 1 in the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll, Jack White at the Chicago Theater and Auditorium Theater, July 23rd and 24th.
Just like that. So here we go with the 2014 XRT Music and Movies polls, best music venues. As soon as they opened their doors in 2009, they've been an XRT listener fave. Number 5, Lincoln Hall. Have you ever been to the City Winery? Oh, yeah. You're here tonight. This is right where we are right now. But they're very nice here, though, aren't they? Bringing down really wonderful hors d'oeuvres. The food's great. Really terrific room for music. And the wine barrels that you see, that's not decorations. No, they actually make their excellent wine right here. And I hear they wash their feet before they go into the barrels to squish the grapes. But it's a combination of comfort, good sound, and amazing wine that puts them at number 4, City Winery. Thanks. And thanks to them for being such great hosts tonight. Really. Avid concert goers from all over the country, heck, all over the world think of Chicago, then they think of Metro. In the heart of Wrigleyville, Joe Shanahan and his crew show how it's done right. Number 3, Metro. Yeah. And your parents used to go to Sheffield and Belmont to see movies there, but years ago they ripped out the seats and turned it into one of the perennial favorites for Chicago concert goers. Number 2, the Vic Theater. And for 5 years in a row now, the radio audience with great music taste clearly enjoys the architecture and the sound system on State Street, that great street. The music venue voted number 1 in the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll, the Chicago Theater.
I've had and thank you, by the way, for coming out tonight to City Winery for this broadcast, and thank you to all of you who voted in all the categories here on the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll. I've had the pleasure of hosting XRT's Chicago Music Show on a weekly basis for a couple of decades now. And I can tell you, from my bird's eye view, I've seen how vital, relevant, rich, and storied this city's music scene has been for not just the last couple of decades, but for 50, 60-something years. And I'll tell you this, as I look around me in 2015, this city's music scene is bigger, better, badder than it's ever been, and I'm looking forward to a great year. And if you don't believe me, get a load of this list right here as voted by XRT listeners. Coming in at number 5, this band celebrated its 40th anniversary this year, having crafted a canon of rock radio staples such as I Want You to Want Me and Surrender and the defining Midwest power pop of the seminal Live at Budokan. Number 5 on the Best Local Artist category of the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll, Cheap Trick. Up next, this Rock and Roll Hall of Famer's 75th birthday was recently celebrated as sold-out all-star performance at Chicago's Auditorium Theater, and is the only artist on this list to have Bob Dylan ask for her hand in marriage. Number 4, in the Best Local Artist category of the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll, Mavis Staples. That's a nice round of applause, Mavis Staples. This next band emerged just about the time that we started up Local Anesthetic on XRT. They were part of the new music renaissance of the early 1990s and are still going strong with their new release, Monuments to an Elegy. Coming in at number 3, the Best Local Artist category on the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll, the Smashing Pumpkins. Got to tell you, there's nobody quite like Billy Corgan in Chicago music, and this is a city full of characters in its music scene. Guitar greats such as Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Stevie Ray Vaughan have cited his playing as an influence. Next month, he'll be receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Grammys. This man is the embodiment of modern Chicago blues. At number 2 on the Best Local Artist category, 2014 Music and Movies poll, Buddy Guy. You see, I mean, this is just a small sampling of how great this scene is. What a list so far. We get to this number 1 position, however, from a band that celebrated their 20th anniversary in 2014, culminating with 6 sold-out WXRT shows at the Riviera in December. The local artist voted number 1 in the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll, Wilco.
Is this the most gala of any gala you've ever been at, huh? Well, you know, you guys go to the show, or you download movies illegally. I don't know, we ain't pointing fingers, but you voted. So, that's all that really matters. It's the top 10 movies on a 2014 Music and Movies poll according to you. Thank you. He was the first guy to ever use performance-enhancing drugs. Scientifically enhanced, the 90-year-old World War II shield slinger, he returned. Captain America, the Winter Soldier. That's number 10. Number 9. The appetite for these movies continued with a 2-hour appetizer for next year's final course, The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1. The number 8 best movie. Bill Murray, an amazing portrayal of the lovably antisocial and cranky Annie Clark, St. Vincent. Get it? St. Vincent? Anyway. This movie took 12 years to finish. Sounds like one of my at-home projects. Boyhood. That was number 7. Number 6, while everybody on Earth got older, in space, he stayed the same. Oh, yeah. McConaughey in Another Dimension, Interstellar. The number 5 best movie. He was a former superhero making a comeback in a movie about a former superhero making a comeback on stage. Michael Keaton, nuttier than ever, Birdman. The number 4 best movie, it was one that proved you could bring a plastic toy world to life, make it action-packed and hilarious, but in the end, deliver an emotional sucker punch to every busy dad in the audience. The Lego Movie. Number 3 best movie. A motley brand of space levels. What did I say? A motley band of space rebels. Worked on many different levels. Anyway, it included a machine gun-toting raccoon, a talking tree, and K-Billy's hits of the 70s. The number 1 box office movie of the year and the number 3 best movie on a Music and Movies poll, Guardians of the Galaxy. It was the book that everybody read, made into the movie that everybody went to see. It had many twists and turns, but you were surprised even if you knew what was coming. She may have been missing, but we found her at number 2, Gone Girl. All right. That brings us to number 1. He was a charming concierge. There was a lobby boy. There was an inheritance. There was a murder. There was the winds of war. And there was one big visual feast. It was the funniest and most entertaining quirk fest. The number 1, the movie voted number 1 on a 2014 XRT Music of Movies poll. You know what it is. Let's hear it. The Grand Budapest Hotel.
A good song is like a pocket universe. It's filled with the entire range of the human experience, where your address will be a torn-up town in the first verse, and you'll be living a queen bee fantasy in the last. Constructed from mundane things like strings and wood and flesh and vibrations, it nonetheless points to the infinite. It is the basic building block of music radio. The following songs were the top vote getters in the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll. And thanks again for participating. We appreciate that. This track from last year's number 1 album reminds us that Paradise will almost certainly include dancing and giant papier-mâché heads. Coming in at number 5, Afterlife from Arcade Fire. This is a true family group. The band of brothers from South Africa, by way of Phoenix, had one of the most appealing offers of the year. Come With Me Now, by the Congos, coming in at number 4. And we took them up on it. A new album and a cable TV show about how it was made were 2 big projects for Foo Fighters last year, resulting in the creation of the number 3 tune of 2014, Something from Nothing. That's how we all got here. Jack White was perhaps the multitasking musician of the year, who took us in and out of quarantine and to number 2 with the title tune from his second solo album, Lazaretto. You know, I remember playing this song on my show for the first time and listening to it and kind of paying attention to the lyrics and then thinking, am I going to get struck by lightning while this song is on? But a powerful number indeed from the debut album, featuring a chorally trained Irish musician and a moving number about an alternative sacred service. The song voted number 1 in the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll, Take Me to Church, Hozier.
I said, are you ready for the best albums of 2014? All right. Starting with number 10, just a coincidence, Hozier with the self-titled album, Hozier. Number 9, a man who has dabbled with the hammer of the gods, a solo album, Robert Plant, Lullaby, and the Ceaseless Roar. Number 8, the album from Spoon, They Want My Soul. Number 7, an album that begs the question, will their next album be Songs of Experience? Number 7, U2, Songs of Innocence. Number 6, from the lovely and talented and very lovely St. Vincent with the album St. Vincent. And here we go, the top 5 albums chosen in the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll. Number 5, your focus was on these vivacious veterans, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers' Hypnotic Eye. Number 4 album, you chose an understated song cycle of shimmering beauty, Beck, Morning Phase. Number 3, from a band that will fill the bleachers at Wrigley Field, Foo Fighters, Sonic Highways. The number 2 album came from a rip-snorting, guitar-playing songwriter who always dresses impeccably, Jack White with Lazaretto. And the moment I've been waiting for, it comes from a band that proved if Cleveland rocks, Akron rocks harder. An album that kept our temperatures rising. The album voted number 1 in the 2014 XRT Music and Movies poll. The Black Keys Turn Blue.